So, welcome, guys, to THN's Road to Fright Fest. We are here to talk about Human, which gets its world premiere at the festival. How are you guys feeling about the selection and the screening?
I feel pretty good. Playing on a Friday is great. I'm 1 week from tomorrow as we're recording this, so that's kind of wild. And like, I actually have never been to Fright Fest before, so this will be my first time. I wanted to go for a long time, so pretty excited about everything. How about you guys? How do you feel?
Anyway, snakes.
I feel great. I've never been to FrightFest either, and it's kind of, this has been a great ride so far, and then to have this is kind of the cherry on top is awesome. I'm super excited to both for the film to be there and to be there too, to go in attendance. So yeah, very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than like a few people that have watched the screener so far, like kind of no one has seen this cut of the movie. So it's also really exciting to like be able to see it with an audience where it's like kind of besides me and like no one has seen this yet. So it'll be pretty fun to like see it and get to see all the reactions as like the first time anyone is seeing it.
That's great. Yeah, at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And David?
All right.
Oh, I'm excited. I went to Fright Fest last year. I was there with a couple buddies in a different movie, and that was a blast. But this year I get to go with the Stew Man, and we've been making movies together for like 6 years. So this is our first like completed feature. So I'm really happy we get to go to such a great festival, like for the first time with our movie.
And Human, it's a blood-drenched Midnight Madness movie, but it's screening during the day. Should the attendees be worried that they're going to lose their lunch?
Um, I mean, there's definitely there's definitely some gross parts to it. You might want to, you know, if you're eating during the movie, eat at the beginning and let it like digest a little bit before it gets to some certain things that happen. But I don't know. For me, like I don't know, I find it fun. Or if you're a maniac like me, just like get something wild to eat and just save it. And like you'll know when it's the time.
I hope that becomes like the quote of this whole Zoom. If you're gonna eat something, eat in the beginning, or get something, or better, even better, get something wild to eat. That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
what's really funny? David was there while we were filming was sort of one of the last pickups for the movie, and the dudes that were helping us out like had gotten some chicken, and like I'm showing scenes from the movie as this is happening, and like sounds are playing. I can just see on their face like how annoyed they are, and they're like, "Fuck, why? Like, why are we sitting right next to this laptop while this is playing?" So yeah,
Popeyes. Would you watch this
yeah,
movie?
they were not enjoying their Popeyes as I was playing the grossest part of the movie.
Nice. And how did the idea for the film come together?
Uh, it's weirdly, I don't know. Have you watched it? Okay, so weirdly enough, like almost everything in this movie is just like based on something in my life. It's just like a very me movie. I mean, it gets a little bit more supernatural than real life, but it's like almost everything is like there's like an inside joke here, or like there's like a conversation I was having, and it's just like sort of like everything that was like running through my mind at the time when I wrote it just like came out into the movie. So it's like a very other the movies I'd done before this aren't necessarily really like that. I kind of just was like, I want to make a sweet like kind of sci-fi found footage movie, like want to make kind of like a slasher movie. But this one, like I sort of went into it with no plan other than just want to write something that's very, very me. So that this is like by far my favorite of my movies too, I think for that reason. But yeah, and I feel too like there's like something fun about all of like the references to stuff where it's like this is a reference that one person will get, but it like the way that it fits into the movie, I feel like the audience even not getting this still will get that same sort of joy out of it because like you just can tell we're excited about it, or as we're making the movie, we're really excited about it. So like I feel like there's like every 30 seconds there's probably something like that. And then also like I knew David would be shooting it going in and producing, and then Jackie, our lead actress too, I wrote it for her. So it was like very much like I want to work with friends. Like I knew almost everyone, other than a few people who also were awesome. But yeah, it's like I pretty much all the roles were like written for someone, or like I knew like who the crew was going to be for everything. So it was like it's also just very fun shooting. So it's just yeah, it's just like hanging out with friends for a couple weeks.
The film starts very insular and quiet, with Danny texting and, reacting to those texts before eventually it kind of goes into some wild, Evil Dead sort of insane territory. That requires a lot for an actor to kind of be able to go from one mode to the other. I mean, you said that you wrote it with Jackie in mind, but what was it about her that made her the right person for Danny?
So I think when was it like 5 years ago or something like that is the first time me and David worked with
Yeah,
Jackie.
it's 2021.
Yeah, and so sort of like our experience with her on set on that movie is just like, all right, she's really good at acting and she's really fun to hang out with. So it's just kind of like, it's going to be a great time when we're making a movie together. And then we've shot a bunch of stuff with her since. But it's like kind of nice too. Like, I feel like a lot of times if you only are seeing movies that someone is in, you get sort of like a certain kind of feeling of like what they're like as an actor. And then this was like totally not the case too, because it was like kind of a serious role in the movie that when we first met her. But like she just was so fun on set that it was like, oh, we can like I can write a role for her that's like wacky and ridiculous and like and grounded at times too. But it's like I know that the range is there where it's like if you want to bring the drama, it's possible. If we want to just be kind of like a regular human, that's possible. And then if we want to go like full a female Bruce Campbell, that's also definitely a thing that we can do. So yeah, I always love working with Jackie.
She went full goblin mode.
She she definitely
Wow.
did.
Uh,
Yeah, there's a lot of Laurie Petty as well, I think, in a performance as well.
Yeah, totally.
from Point Break.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
it's here somewhere. I love Point Break. Anyway, back to Human. As the story progresses, as I said, the tone kind of switches up, and yet the music kind of remains like the constant. It's the thing that kind of is keeping the viewer guided along this wild and wacky journey. Joseph, how did you go about kind of orchestrating the score so that it was able to be that guiding hand?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, like Matt's temp was great. And my job is just to kind of really um, serve the picture, right? Serve the story. And with Matt's temp in place, that was just absolutely perfect. I just kind of needed a way to just kind of like maybe bring that closer to our world and keep it consistent and interesting, kind of a little bit of my style thrown in. But it was just basically like, and it's funny because it's like I would never have thought as to use those pieces that we used in the beginning along scattered along the film, and that was all Matt. And then when I would watch it back as I was writing it, I'm like, yeah, this is a great idea to do this because it keeps it cohesive. So yeah, I mean, most of it is just Matt's amazing temp, and then I just kind of just took that and just kind of ran with it and kind of made it our own and stuff. So it says so much about when directors take the time. If directors are music people, that's the best thing I could ever ask for. The worst thing for me to hear is do whatever you want, because it's never that. Because I know that even when people are writing a film, they have music in mind. They know what it wants to sound like, and it's so important to me to have really strong temp, or any temp for that matter. So yeah, I can say like those pieces were all Matt and kind of his idea, and we just fleshed them out, and I feel great about how they're implemented for sure.
So I will say too, I think that's all true, but I also think Joseph's really undercutting how much better the movie is with his music in. Like I think like I liked the temp and it was cool, but like sort of like what he was saying, where it's like he came in, did the original score, and like made the movie have that feel that it has. That what like was all him to where it like there was a lot of stuff where I was like, this is like pretty cool and it's like kind of fun. And then like I hear the real music and I'm like, oh shit, this is like we're going serious now. Like I feel like it brought the drama a lot more too, where like I feel like I had a tendency to go a bit more comedic in the music originally, and there's still some comedy in the music, but I think now just only where it fits. And it's just I think it's just easier sometimes where you're like, all right, we're going funny here, and then like I hear the real music and it's like has that same feel, but it's like, oh, we're like deadly serious now, and it's amazing.
It's so vital in that first kind of half an hour because
Hmm.
the only other sound on screen is the clicking of text messaging and notifications. So it's so vital to help kind of set this mood because without that music, that's just a lot of click 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 click.
Oh yeah, I kind of did a thing too in the intro where like I wanted to almost feel like a silent film, and I think the music accomplishes that to where there's really like Danny doesn't even make it like the only noise she makes is like there's a little bit of like the bed moving and stuff, but it's like it's really just the text. Like I didn't even there's like no breath noises. So like just for that part of the movie where I just wanted to have this sort of weird weird kind of feel to it. And I experimented a little bit with like adding like traditional Foley and stuff in there, and it just sounded wrong to me. It's like it just works better as kind of like a weird like silent film part of the movie.
It captures that kind of like the middle of the night vibe, which is obviously, when the story
Yeah.
is it kind of, it does kind of feel like you're in that room, like you're late night texting at home, it's kind of quiet around you. Maybe you're listening to music and it definitely kind of captures that spirit.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I feel like there's something about like, like there's something so different about a text conversation than there is about like a real convo with words too, where it's just like, like I've done plenty of like online dating type stuff, but it's like you can be texting someone and it's like amazing, and then you meet them in person, it's like, oh, this is like there's no chemistry whatsoever, and it's
Terrible.
just weird. So I kind of wanted it to have that feel too at the beginning too, where it's just like if they actually were talking to each other in the same spot, probably everything they were saying would be totally different.
Definitely. And, the practical effects in Human are, gut bustingly gnarly. David, did it help
Awesome.
being, a cinematographer and effects wizard? As you were making it, we were like, yeah, I know that I can shoot this in this way to make it look better.
Uh, yeah, that helped out. It also helps that Matt knows the effects world and he knows cinematography really well too. I mean, plus we just kind of wrote it to where I spray people with a hose for the majority of the time. We just had an air compressor filled with blood and fluid. So I'm just like, all right, I get to spray somebody for like 30 minutes. Sweet. But yeah,
There's a couple days where it was like the most sprays I've ever seen on a set. It was
yeah,
just ridiculous. It
we
was
almost
so much.
drowned Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie, yeah, she got a little destroyed
Well,
in
the
this
whole
movie.
catalyst for how gnarly like she gets in the movie was Matt asked her on a different set. What was the question you asked? Oh, it was on Wake
So
Knob.
yeah, we were working on a different movie, and like she was fully like makeup, like eyes are gouged out, like all this stuff's all over her, and it's like great looking stuff. And we're like, is this the most fucked up you've ever gotten for a movie? And she just very quickly was just like, nah, like not even close. And we're like, it's
Yes, you
like
wait.
we got annoyed. So yeah, then when it came to writing that scene, I was like, you're not going to say the same thing after this scene. And then I mean, both Jackie and the entire crew, once we were done shooting the scene in question, we were like so stoked to get out of there because it was nasty. In real life, like in the movie, it's nasty, but it plays so funny that hopefully, like I don't really want you to be like hopefully you actually can eat food while it's happening, but in real life, you would not want to taste anything anywhere close to
It
to that room.
was a depressing room to be in too, shooting there for 2 days. I didn't want to go to set, and I have the best times on set with that. None of that room is just gnarly, man.
Yeah, it was gross.
It's a practical room too. Uh,
And yet they say that a film is made three times, in the writing, the shooting, and the editing. Matt, somebody who was hands-on at all three stages, do you think that that's true, or are you kind of one of those directors that as you're shooting, you've already edited it as you're shooting it, so that you don't have to then trawl through, hours of footage?
It's definitely a bit of both, but there most definitely was going through hours and hours of footage on this one. And especially with the screens that are in this movie, uh, even sort of like the way I originally envisioned it in my mind was going to be totally different. And then I kind of tested it out and I was like, I hate this. So I changed it. And I love the way it is now, where it's just like massive on screen anytime, like basically anytime you're on a screen, it's like we don't see the screen. It's just like full cinema widescreen on it. But yeah, we even shot some stuff where it's like we had some sort of like cell phone POV shots where like they were fun to shoot and like they're cool, but it just like it's for some of the, like the FaceTime stuff especially, and like it looked nice, but it just didn't have that same impact as just like you're like right here on someone's face. And so once I figured that out, it was like, oh yeah, this is definitely the way to go. But it was nice. I don't know. I kind of like to work in a way that is sort of like in the middle ground of that, where like we've got a good plan of what we want to do, but we've also shot enough footage that we can like do some experimentation in the edit.
well, that was the good thing about the screens, right? Since there was so much texting, you could go back, and if we thought of something better, like later on in
Oh
the
yeah.
year and a half long process that was post, you could fix it up and change it around. But you're pretty spot on with staying to the script for the most part.
The in the I for the sake of the audience, I cut the texting down a lot. It was way longer in the script. And I actually really liked the long cut too, but at the same time, I was like, okay, let's have just enough that like we get everything across and like we're having a good time, and then it's like we're on to the next thing. Which is also kind of a actually for the whole movie is like something I really liked. And I know you were saying earlier of like how the movie sort of like changes into a bunch of different things as it goes on. And that too is kind of just that part is not necessarily based on real life, but it's just based on my likes of horror essentially, where I'm like, I don't just like one kind of thing. I like everything. So I'm just like, let's get some horror comedy, let's get some crazy gore, let's get some like dramatic moments, and then let's just do it all.
And some sweet action too.
Oh yeah.
Some hot fuzz.
And I guess my final question to you all is, the Fright Fest audience are, getting ready to pick what they're going to watch when. Why do you each hope that they take a chance on Human?
I guess I'll go first. I think so. We definitely made this movie to be seen with an audience. I think it's at least whenever I have shown scenes to people that haven't seen them, it gets a pretty great reaction. And it's just like, it's just like dedicatedly watching it and with people like hearing the reactions and stuff. It's just like, it's just the way to see this one for sure. I think, and just like the music, I've mixed it pretty loud, so hopefully it's just blasting in theaters. Because yeah, it's just like I kind of want people to just have that sort of just like we call it sort of like a roller coaster ride a lot, where it is like, I mean, it does have like, it starts, it's got the build up, and then it's just like going wild. And hopefully there's a lot of unexpected things happening in there as well too. Um, to where, yeah, I think it'd be a fun time for people to come see.
Snakes.
Um, there's, we all love movies as far probably all sitting here, but like, this is nothing like seeing a movie in a theater. I mean, it has, you could have a great sound system, you could have like a film viewing room in your house, and it just is still nothing like being in a theater with it being so loud and being surrounded by people. Everyone's reaction is exactly the same time. And I remember when, Matt first sent me the cut of the movie. So I was like, this is the craziest thing I've seen in the longest time. I have to do this. Like, it's just insane. So I just want that feeling times how many people they're going to be there. I mean, it's just, obviously I want as many people to see this as possible on their phone and in their living room or whatever, but there's still nothing like seeing a movie like this in a theater. And, I'm especially, going a little over the top at some points, with the music and Matt saying there's never going to be too over the top, so I just kept
I
pushing that
remember that
envelope
was
a
one of
little bit.
one of the earlier cues that you sent. You're like, is this too over the top? And I was like,
There won't be. There's no such
you
thing.
cannot go too hard on this. So
Right.
no, this
So
is
with that in
awesome.
mind, I'm like, all right, let's go. Here we go. So doing that, I just think about, and like I think about like when I've seen some movies that were just mixed so loud and just the jump scares and everything are just like it's just encompassing because you're in a theater. And that's kind of how I'm excited about people experiencing this the first time as me. Like I have, we're all going to be experiencing this for the first time in a theater, and I think that's wonderful. So that's it.
I think that this movie is just like one of the most authentic movies ever. It's not trying to be anything else. It is just trying to be pleasing towards an audience. So I think if I was an audience member, this is the one I would want to see. Because I know that anytime we were filming anything, the first question that Matt had is like, how do we make sure that the audience enjoys this? And that is like throughout the entire movie, it's purely cinematic aggression, is what we've kind of coined it.
Elevated popcorn.
Elevated popcorn horror.
Nice. Well, thank you guys so much for your time and best of luck with the screening.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.